Hello there. Our team has decided to participate in the COVID-19 track in the Hack 3 hackathon. Our product for this track is Mask Pie.
Our names are Abhisar Anand.
Milan Behera,
And Srinivas Sriram, the developers of Mask Pie. We are a group of friends who live on the east coast of Massachusetts.
here's a brief description of our plan for the presentation today. We will go over what the problem we want to solve, how our product will solve the problem, a demonstration of our product working in real time, and some closing thoughts of our hackathon experience.
So, the problem. Since we're participating in the COVID-19 track, we decided to target one of the very first things that CDC issued at the start of the pandemic, wearing a face mask. Wearing a face mask is such an easy task and it can really slow down the spread of the virus. However, there are some people who decide not to wear masks. They're putting people's lives at risk when they enter public places. So this problem might prove to be quite big now, and as many stories and businesses are opening at this time, this is a very relevant problem.
To solve this problem, we have decided to apply a deep learning Python application through a Raspberry Pi. The Raspberry Pi will use this application to extract people's faces and predict whether they're wearing a face mask or not by using a custom trained model. Businesses and companies that are reopening at this time can use our program to make sure that people who enter in are not wearing masks. There are lots of real life actions that can be taken based off of the data that our program receives.
So how MaskPi works. So first we start on a live camera feed, and then after that from the live camera feed, we continue and scan for people who enter the stream. So once a person actually enters the stream, we use an open source Resonant Cafe model to extract the person's face from the stream. After that, we use our own custom trained CNN model to predict if the person is wearing a mask or not. And to train our CNN model, we used a GitHub data set that is linked in the description.
Now that you know how MaskPi works, we will now show you some real-life examples of what can happen after the program predicts whether the person is wearing a mask. The demo that we will show you now will include the two following examples. The first example is that if the person is wearing a mask, we will use a motor to pull open a door using a rope, allowing them to enter inside because they will know we are wearing a mask. Wearing a mask. This will be useful and stores who want to make sure that everyone who enters is wearing a mask. The second example is that if a person is not wearing a mask, an email will be sent with a picture of the person who is not wearing the mask. And this will be useful when the people enter inside and the store will be identified of who is and who isn't wearing the mask, and we can plan accordingly.
To finally end things off, we have some points and takeaways that we learned from this hackathon experience. So first, let's start with things that we learned. First of all, we learned how to train our own custom model for our own purposes, and this can be useful later on in our careers. We learned a whole lot about deep learning and how we can save the world with it. We also learned how the Raspberry Pi is an easy way to apply these models outside of the world. On top of that, we learned about time management based on this hackathon because since we only had 24 hours, we had to plan things accordingly based off of what's important. Although there was a lot of things that were great about this hackathon experience, there were some troubles that we had. At first, we couldn't really find resources, and we were having trouble making do of what we got. And there was a lot of inconsistency in our code. Every time we tried to run it, it might work one time or it'll fail another time. But, anyways, the hackathon taught us a lot, and we really appreciate it. Thank you so much for listening to our presentation.